This is CBN NewsWatch.
And it is Friday, March 13th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. America is starting to feel the full pressure of the coronavirus pandemic. The sporting world is grinding to a halt, and the entertainment venues are shutting down as Congress works to provide relief and Christians pray. For the latest, we turn now to senior Washington correspondent Jennifer Wishon, who's joining us with more. Jennifer?
Yeah, Ephraim, March Madness has new meaning this year, and it will not include any college basketball. On its cover, the New York Post declaring Thursday the day the sports world stopped. It is hard to believe, but the NCAA is scrubbing its widely followed college basketball tournament. A game, the Big East game, underway at Madison Square Garden, stopped at halftime yesterday as the announcement came in. And that's not all. Leaders of Major League Baseball, the NBA, NHL, soccer, and golf have all decided the risk of coronavirus outweighs the billions of dollars they'll lose.
We're dealing with an unprecedented situation here. It's a fluid situation, changing minute by minute, and we don't have a blueprint.
Yeah, that's for sure. And as all of those professional sports teams are deciding to delay play, Ephraim, I can tell you that NASCAR will run its next two races, however, without fans in the stands.
All right, Jennifer, how is the entertainment world responding?
Pretty dramatically. Disney parks and cruise line are closing. In New York, Broadway is closing its 41 theaters for 1 month. Officials say there were concerns about people sitting so close together for hours. And of course, those closures are affecting much more: the hotels, the restaurants and shops that depend on the tourists who flock to those places, all having a ripple effect.
As we've been reporting, Congress has been trying to work out a deal to provide relief. Where does that stand right now?
Yeah, lawmakers are expected to vote on a bipartisan relief package today. This is being negotiated by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, along with Republican lawmakers. It's set to include free virus testing, increased unemployment coverage, and paid emergency leave. And remember, Ephraim, this deal is on top of the $8.3 billion package that Congress already passed for research, vaccines, and preparedness. Meanwhile, the president says that if certain regions of the country get, quote, too hot, it's possible we could see travel restrictions within the U.S. imposed. This is on top of those restrictions keeping flights from Europe coming into the U.S. that the president announced earlier this week.
So, Jennifer, what do we know about how Christian leaders are responding in all this?
Of course, across the country, Christian leaders are encouraging prayer. And this Sunday, actually, the nearly 48,000 churches of the Southern Baptist Convention will take time to pray in unity. They're asking God to stop the pandemic, give leaders wisdom, and protect the missionaries serving across the globe. And I'm sure that the anxiety that's accompanying this pandemic will be a hot topic in all churches this week and in the weeks to come.
All right, Jennifer, thank you so much for your reporting. I want to turn now to medical reporter Lori Johnson for the latest on the big picture with COVID-19. So, Lori, what is the latest?
Well, Ephraim, I think it's safe to assume that we here in the United States are at war, and the enemy is the coronavirus. And each and every one of us is a soldier in this battle. And we've been given our marching orders. Each and every one of us has been asked to do two main things: don't get sick, don't make others sick. And Ephraim, we who are Christians are also soldiers for Christ. And Jesus has also given us our marching orders. He said, do not worry. And we've been given lots of ways to not worry. One of the best ways to learn how not to worry is to read this book right here, the Holy Bible. There are all kinds of scriptures that will calm us down and make us see the big picture. But also, Ephraim, even in the news, there's a lot of news that would give us cause to feel calm. For example, the tens of thousands of people who have gotten better. The fact that many doctors say this is only going to be short-lived. It might be seasonal. It might be out of here in 4 weeks. So we need to adopt that wartime mentality to do everything we can just for the short time. Life will get back to normal soon enough. And in the meantime, don't worry.
Don't worry, yeah. We know so far this year there have been more than 20,000 deaths, all caused by the flu. But Could the coronavirus be worse than that?
Yeah, that's what's causing a lot of confusion. So yes, when we talk about the death rate compared to the flu, we know that the death rate, the number of people who have died in the United States from the flu is 20,000, and it's less than 50 as far as the coronavirus, but the death rate is actually a percentage. So the number of people who have died, that's a raw number. The death rate is a percentage. And with the flu, the death rate is 0.1%, but with the coronavirus, it's 1%. That's 10 times higher. Now, that actual percentage may decline, but right now, the percentage of people who die from coronavirus is 10 times higher.
As more people get tested, we'll see those numbers change as
well. Hopefully we will, yes.
What do we know the importance of hand washing. We are hearing that. What else should people be doing?
Two main things: keeping your distance from other people. And that's why we're seeing all these closings. And these are very preemptive, because we've seen with other countries like China where there was a huge spike in cases. And then when it got to that catastrophic level, then they started shutting everything down. And the United States has a different strategy, a wiser strategy, in my opinion, is let's take those precautions right now before it gets to that level. So we really need to keep our distance from people. Stay home is the best advice. Even if you're not sick, stay home. And then also keep your distance for those of us who work. No, I really love you, but I want to stay as far away from you as possible. 6 feet or more is ideal.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lori. The coronavirus had Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressing his nation last night. He told Israelis in a nationwide television the formation of a national emergency government is needed in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis.
I call on the formation now, even this evening, of a national emergency government. Without any hesitation, without any postponement, it will be an emergency government for a limited period. Together we will fight to save the lives of citizens. We have to put politics aside.
Netanyahu also took what he called another necessary step. He closed schools like this one here and universities throughout the country until the end of the Passover holiday, which is next month. Our Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem. So, Chris, what are some of the other steps Israel has taken to combat the coronavirus?
Well, Efrem, one of the main steps they've taken to protect Israel from the coronavirus is actually to have all visitors quarantined for 14 days when they arrive here in Israel. They did that a few days ago, and really, basically, what it means, many of the tourists that come here would have to be quarantined for those 14 days. Many people come for a 10-day tour, so that would mean you would have to have 14 days before you even get to go on a tour. So that really has devastated the tourism industry here. I've talked to some of the tour guides. One at Ben Gurion. One of my neighbors is actually a tour guide. Most of the tours that they had scheduled had been canceled. Also, there's a decrease in gatherings. You cannot have more than 100 people in a public gathering. That's been reduced from 5,000 to 2,000 to 200. Now there's just 100. And also, Benjamin Netanyahu really has been sort of the hygienist in chief. He's saying personal hygiene is so important. And he's also encouraging the youth here in Israel, take care of your grandparents and your parents, and really trying to induce a family atmosphere here in Israel.
Full disclosure here, Chris, we had 2 of our staff there in Jerusalem in quarantine. Why was that, and what was their experience?
Well, that was Julie Stahl, our CBN News Middle East correspondent, and one of our cameramen. And really, they're part of this worldwide phenomenon around the world that thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of people in either quarantine or self-quarantine. I know one of the more famous ones is Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson. You know, some of their experience really was helpful to us. They said during that time, it's important, as Lori had said, and Jennifer, depend on the Lord and His Word. One of the advice that Julie had was to write a journal, make a plan, and actually the help of family and friends makes a big difference when people have to be quarantined and be alone. You know, family and friends reaching out makes a big, big difference.
Indeed. You have said that King David had something to say about the coronavirus.
He really did, Ephraim. And, you know, King David wrote the Psalms not too far behind me, right here at the original city of David. He wrote in Psalm 46 that God is a very present help in times of trouble. He said in Psalm 91 that he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And even in this week's parashah, which is part of the scriptures that Jews in synagogues around the world read every week, it talks about washing your hands so you shall not die. It's a very timely word from the scriptures this week for people around the world. And basically, this is really a time to depend on the Lord, as King David did 3,000 years ago.
Spent time reading those scriptures last night. What do you have on this week's Jerusalem Dateline?
Well, Ephraim, we're going to have an update on the elections. Obviously, we just announced that, reported that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is calling for an emergency national government. That is a possibility now with the Blue and White Party led by Benny Gantz. We'll also have an interview with Joel Rosenberg. I know our audience knows him very well. He's come out with a new novel. It's called The Jerusalem Assassin. We had the opportunity to interview him actually at the setting of that novel with the Temple Mount in the background. We also have a story about Arabs that are learning Hebrew, this Jewish group that is really reaching out to their Arab neighbors and helping them learn Hebrew so they can be more incorporated into the society. And finally, something about I Am Patrick, that new Fathom event coming out next Tuesday on St. Patrick's Day.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. I want to remind you at home that you can catch Jerusalem Dateline tonight with Chris and his team. It begins at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, and you can find that on the CBN News channel. U.S. fighter jets struck Iranian-backed militia in Iraq in a retaliation for a rocket attack that killed and wounded American troops. The warplanes hit 5 weapons storage facilities in the Baghdad region Thursday. Defense Department officials are telling us this. This comes after 2 U.S. troops and 1 British soldier died when 18 rockets struck an Iraqi base Wednesday. 18 people were injured. Iraqi security forces discovered a truck launcher near the base after that attack. 18 Russian made Katyusha rockets struck Camp Taji. Those rockets have been used before by Iranian-backed militia in Iraq. Coming up, our Sean Brown joins us to talk sports, or the lack of sports, as the coronavirus shuts down just about anything going on this season in the sporting world. Stay with us.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN NewsWatch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today. Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're going to be late for the grand opening.
My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come? I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
And Sean Brown is here, and normally, of course, we talk about all the big games and the events in the sports world each week, but the story this week is, unfortunately, the basically shutting down all events. And of course, we know, as Jennifer reported earlier, March Madness is canceled. How big of a blow is that to the game and financially for schools as well?
You know, first of all, good morning, man. Good morning. Well, you know, for college athletes, you know, this is what they work so hard for. Mm-hmm. They want to play in the tournament. They want to win a national championship. This is, you know, the best marketing opportunity for those players at getting to the next level. And of course, playing for their schools. And for it to just be canceled, and first of all, initially it was, hey, we're going to play without fans, but now to take that away, those seniors, man, that's what I'm thinking about. Before all the financial stuff, I'm thinking about the students themselves, the student athletes themselves, and how big of a blow that is to them. Yeah. There will be financial ramifications that they'll have to deal with later because, of course, each network carries certain, you know, whether it's TNT or CBS or whatever network is carrying which tournament. You know, there will be financial ramifications for that, and there's no getting that back. It's different in the pros because they can postpone their seasons, but in college is over in May. You know what I mean? So they don't know. I don't know that they have the time to be able to put that together, and so. Yeah, you know, I don't really know. I don't think anyone really knows, you know, what to do at this point because you might as well count that this season as a loss in terms of college sports. And it's all spring sports.
Yeah, and sad to say it trickles down. I was watching the news last night and saw some high school kids who made it to the state championships here in Virginia, and it's over for them, and they're heartbroken. Let's talk about the NBA and pro basketball. You talk multi-billion dollars.
Multi-billion dollars, man. And I think, you know, when Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert was diagnosed with coronavirus, I think that could just kind of set things off, you know, when that happened a few days ago. And then followed by, you know, Donovan Mitchell also with the Utah Jazz. I think the other professional sports said, well, wow, like, this can reach us as well. You know, I don't know that there is a gathering, you know, outside of, you know, college sports where there's a multitude of people in one spot, you know, and so you have to take precautions for the players and, of course, the fans. It's always safety first. This has been deemed a pandemic. And so, you know, you kind of have to do it. The difference between pros and college is that the pros can either postpone their seasons or make some sort of adjustments. And so I think they're trying to figure that out right now, and they may be able to make some of that, you know, those financial things, make that financial gain back. It may turn into a profitable season in terms of just business. Yeah. And of course, the fans want to see basketball, you know, and baseball and so forth. And so we'll have to wait and see how that evolves over the next few days or weeks.
Absolutely. Before we run out of time, what long-term effect do you think this could have in the world of sports?
You know, I don't know that anyone knows. I know that it will affect the economy because sports brings, you know, it helps to drive the economy forward and move the economy forward. Time will tell. I don't know that anyone has the answers for that right now. I think we're all in just a state of shock because this has never really happened before across the board. And so as time, you know, moves on, you know, we'll find out, you know, how they're going to make those adjustments. Again, professional sports may be able to make up and drive the economy later. But for college sports, they may have to wait until next year or in the summer.
All right, Sean Brown, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to CBN.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible, Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
If you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Get Protect Your Sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
For centuries, Europe was the center of Christian civilization. Sadly, that is no longer the case, with most Europeans abandoning the faith. But there are signs God is bringing the harvest back to re-evangelize Europe. Adil Hurd is bringing us this story now from Dublin and London.
This is not the dark continent any longer. This is the new dark continent. A majority of African nations today are Christian. A majority of Europeans today say they're either atheist or have no religion. But God is using believers from the mission fields of Africa, Asia, and Eastern Europe, just as early missionaries had prayed for.
In the early 1800s, when European missionaries were going to Africa, Asia, they spoke of a hopeful day in the future.
Dr. Harvey Kwiani, professor of African Christianity and theology at Liverpool Hope University in England, grew up in a Malawi village first evangelized by British missionary David Livingstone. He says what early missionaries had prayed for is something called the blessed reflex.
That there's going to be a reflex in the future when Christians from Africa, from Asia, would come back to strengthen British or European Christianity.
And today, dynamic Bible-believing immigrant churches can be found in virtually every European capital. After years of decline, church attendance in London is finally growing again. But it's not growing because of traditional churches. It's growing primarily because of African churches.
In London, on any given Sunday, over 60% of people who attend church are Black Africans going to African Pentecostal churches.
Just 14% of London's population. They now account for over half of the city's church attendance. After Ireland turned away from the Catholic Church to secularism, there is now fresh fire, thanks to Christian immigrants known as the New Irish.
The Irish came to Africa many years ago and did so much. They didn't just bring a religion, they brought better life, schools, hospitals, and all of that.
Pastor Tunde Oke oversees the Nigerian-based Redeemed Christian Church of God in Ireland, which now has more than 100 churches.
They brought the seed to Africa, and the Africans are coming back here. And for us to come back to Ireland and see Ireland in the state that it's in, it encourages us to do a whole lot more.
The harvest has also returned from Eastern Europe. The two largest churches in Ireland today are both Romanian Pentecostal. Betania Church outside of Dublin is building a new $5.5 million facility on faith. When I talked to the pastors at the construction site, they admitted this has all been a wonderful surprise.
I think nobody came here as a missionary, you're right.
But God had a plan for the Romanians who came to Ireland to work.
Our kids, our generation has the potential, and this is our main purpose as a church, to give and prepare and equip and empower and send this young generation outside of the church.
God's plan, like a big picture, we can see only the small puzzle piece, but it's God's plan and God's way. So even now we make history, but we don't know that we're making history.
Pastor Sean Malarkey of St. Mark's in Dublin says there are now church plants all over Ireland because of the immigrants.
There are churches being planted in little rural towns that could never have been reached if it wasn't for the fact that God has brought in these people. We've been so blessed by the arrival of these new Irish.
And Kwiani believes this new movement in Europe will redefine what it means to be a missionary in this century.
God has a sense of humor. Because now that things are getting a lot more secular, God is bringing the harvest back to the people that brought Jesus to us.
Dale Hurd, CBN News, reporting from London and Dublin.
And I want to let you know the new docudrama from CBN Films, I Am Patrick, is in theaters 2 nights only, March 17th and 18th, just in time for St. Patrick's Day. Tickets are on sale right now. Go to im.com for showtimes and locations. Coming up, some high-tech hand washing with a device developers say can knock out the coronavirus. Stay with us.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
I'm Efrem Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5, Wednesday night at 9:30.
Tikkun Olam.
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone. I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
We know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com to get your copy today.
An Israeli company is using technology for hand washing that will destroy the coronavirus and even stronger viruses. That is according to its makers. The company Soapy developed the TechSmart hand washing station of the same name. Developers say it can knock out viruses that are much stronger than COVID-19. It pulls water from the air and combines it with a plant-based disinfectant and the right amount of soap and hand washing time. Now you can find this full story at cbnnews.com. Time now for your Friday Faithful, and I leave you with this message as we wrap the work week filled with headlines that can be a bit overwhelming. Remember this, God is bigger than all of your problems. He's bigger than all of your fears. He's bigger than any question. He's bigger than anything. With that word, I encourage you to make today a fabulous Friday. And that is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. You can watch the news anytime on the CBN News channel or online at cbnnews.com. You can also email us at newswatch@cbn.com and reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Certainly hope you'll do just that and join us again right here next time. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.